Video games and leaks have always had a very tenuous relationship between one another. Usually, leaks are unwanted by the development staff and marketing team of a particular game because it gives away too much information, either that was meant to be a pleasant surprise or details they would have preferred not being known until the general audience had spent their money on it. And Sonic is typically no exception to this. Information is kept under wraps, and with Sonic Frontiers this has been perhaps the most true it has ever been. We were barely told anything about the game. There were a couple underlying rumours at first, but it wasn't until that original teaser trailer where we barely saw Sonic and he did a little loop-de-loop and we saw that weird logo that got everyone speculating. It wasn't until then that Sega even officially acknowledged their next project. You may find it odd that I'm claiming leaks have saved Sonic Frontiers' marketing force, but let's take a look at the official marketing scheme that's been rolled out without any of the leaks, as if they were never there to begin with. After that first teaser trailer, there would have been about 9 months of nothing until the next teaser trailer where we saw Sonic being chased in the forest by the robots and hearing the strange woman's voice, of which no one was sure who it would be, and to be honest, we still don't know despite what we've been told. And we would have also discovered the open world being shown off. But there would have been some underlying questions. Obviously, for a start, open world, that's a big jump. A lot of people would be wondering how that's going to work. But some of the more nitpicky things, such as you were able to see Sonic's old Forces model during that very teaser trailer, there would have been no other source of information to inquire about that. So people would have been going even more hard about, is this a temporary asset, a placeholder from Forces, or is this the real deal? There would have been no other information and Sega would have been silent about it. You go from that till more recently with the IGN teasers, or trailers, whatever you want to call them. And those first two, the exploration and then the combat one afterwards, in the actual timeline we live in, with the leaks, were still received largely negatively, those first two previews. If you took out the leaks, where we wouldn't have known about the open world for, well, a year ahead of time, we wouldn't have known that there was plans to have multiple islands, we wouldn't have known about the skill tree and potential upgrades, we wouldn't have known about the presence of other characters. If you didn't have all of those leaks, then it would have been an even worse fallout for Sega and the game. I don't even know if it would have recovered from that, because it was pretty close as it was this time round. And yes, public reception has improved a bit with the more recent gameplay previews, such as the many boss fights, or the interviews where they state that things can be optional and you can progress at your own pace, doing which methods you prefer, such whether it be platforming, puzzles, or combat. So yes, reception has improved now, but it was thankfully only restricted a little bit by previous marketing mess-ups. If the marketing messed up even worse, maybe people would have been less willing to hear Sega out on that. And it wasn't just that leaks gave people some comfort or hope that perhaps we just weren't being shown the full picture. Even as far back as the Rangers leaks, before we knew the name was Frontiers, there were still very important things that were being talked about. We heard that there's a chance there'll be multiple playable characters. We heard there's a chance that there'll be Chow Gardens returning. We learned that Super Sonic might have a more playable role. These sorts of information that are still not verified to this day gave us something to theorize over without it being aimless. Sure, leaks are questionable at best, and usually they don't turn out to be true, but this is a unique case where the Frontiers leaks, bit by bit, were proven true. And not just the same source were giving true leaks. And as this built up and we got those small drip feeds of information from Sega officially, and then we could use them to verify the leaks and see even more of them were accurate. That was a huge part of the hype cycle going into Frontiers, and it had next to nothing to do with the official marketing plan. Without that, so much of the discourse would have just been focused on the concerning, lacking imagery we were given. Sega's decision to drip feed Frontiers information has been baffling. I can't pretend to fully understand the mindset. If I were to guess, potentially maybe the marketing scheme was to entice customers with some unorthodox process. So they thought, maybe if we partner with IGN and give them little bits of information, it will spark discourse. And that's true, it did spark discourse, but it wasn't the positive kind. When numerous interviews state, the game's actually better than what you're being shown, you've got to start asking, why not just show something better? Why hold back the things that will actually sell people on your game for the sake of frustrating them and potentially turning them away from the game before you even had a chance to show it? I think it's a bit of a flawed scheme. I don't know what happened there, but it's clearly had some sort of effect on the sales figures or interest of Frontiers. Even now, there are a few lingering concerns that prevent people from becoming fully invested, and you can't blame people if they feel that way. An excuse has been thrown around that it's always early builds we're seeing, but what game doesn't have to deal with those same issues of showing something before the final product is out? Most companies will try and pick a section that's close to being done and polish it up for the sake of being shown off to better represent the final product. We're not all expecting the full game to be shown off months ahead of time. You would just expect they would show you the best they could. And if this was the best they could show, that's even bigger concern for worry. However, we know that's not true because, 2 weeks after the first IGN preview, we saw the more in-depth gameplay from the demos. So clearly there was something better, but they just chose not to show it at that time. We may never know the reasons behind why the marketing was done in the way it was, or if it was perhaps a strategy to increase our own interest by getting us riled up in disappointment just to say, aha, it was actually better than you initially thought. But that sort of thing, if it is what happened, I would never recommend annoying your audience just to say, haha, it was actually better. It's just going to annoy your audience even more, rather than please everybody. Regardless, that was about all I had to say on the matter. Quite a bit of speculation on my part, but I do think at the very least it's a fair argument to put forward. The leaks, in my opinion, really have helped Frontiers marketing, at least before they started showing some of the better things more recently, that is. What do you think on the topic? It's probably a rather controversial one, but let me know in the comments below. And thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. It really helps its performance out and supports my channel. I hope to see you again. Have a great day. This is the Mighty Emperor, signing off.